Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Milda Siti. I am from class 1C and now I'm here to presenting my review book for my final exam in reading subject. So let me share screen. Wait a minute. So as you can see, there's the picture of the cover of the book. The title is The Lost Boy, author Dave Pelzer, year 2001, publisher Orion Media, UK, page 3 and 342 pages. Price 75 rupiah. ISBN 075283764 and 8. So the novel work of Dave Pelzer, with a thick book of 342 pages, contains a very interesting story. The story in this novel is a true story of an author finding the happy life he has always dreamed of and searching for the love of a family. This novel can make the reader feel drifting and carried into the story inside. So the novel by Dave Pelzer is a novel that based on a true story. The Lost Boy is a true story about a child who was placed in the foster care system at the young age of 12 after being relentlessly abused and tortured by his mother and neglected by his father. David, he was alone, hungry, and shivering in the dark. He sat on the top of his head and the bottom of the stairs in the garage. His head was tilted backward. His hand became numb hours ago, but that's nothing new. He had to learn to turn off the pain. His mother, prisoner. David received a beating or played another one of her mother games, performed afternoon chores, and then he sat at the bottom of the stairs until he was summoned to complete the evening course. All he can do is try to imagine himself away somewhere, anywhere far from the house. So at the first chapter, uh, for the for the main character in this novel is David, but his name does not appear in the beginner chapter, but David came his name came in in the next chapter, maybe chapter 2, chapter 3, and yeah, like that. And the character is developed and in the next chapter, not like in the first chapter. The character developed in next chapter, maybe like chapter 2, chapter 3, and yeah, go on. Okay. One day, his parents started yelling in the dining room, swearing and screaming. The problem is the father thinks that the mother treats David badly. They keep yelling and arguing about it. Suddenly, David's mother said to her husband, and David, if her husband thought as it is, David could go anywhere else. All David could thought was he prepared himself to go downstairs, but surprisingly, her mother opened the door leading to the downstairs garage. At first, David hesitated to walk out from the house. He stopped for a while and think about it. If he leaves the house, he can live freely without abused and tortured by her mother. David made his mind. Without hesitating, he just stepped out from the house and his new life started. So, in the beginning of the chapter, The problem is getting more and more, what, getting more intense. Yeah, and it makes me, uh, oh, I can't say that this novel is interesting. This is my type of novel. Yeah, even though I'm not a reading person, I'm not a reader. I don't like reading. So yeah, I because this novel is interesting, so I just choose this novel to review this novel. So I choose this because it's interesting story based on a true story. And yeah, okay. In his new life, after stepped out from the house, he spent his time in a foster home. He was in and out of 5 different homes and school. David, always haunted by abuse and torture, thought his mother would be after him, even though he had already in foster home. Alice and Harold was his foster parents in the last home. Since then, David could found real family, and his future. David found his own path, and he was not alone. He had not to feel all abused and tortured again. So maybe in next chapter after chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, and so on, the character is the character describe oh sorry, I mean like uh in the next chapter, every chapter uh every chapter in this novel tell about David's life in her foster care. He was in and out 5 different homes and school. So yeah, every chapter tell the how he spent his life in foster home. How he like what does he do? What did he do in his foster home? So after he made Alice and Harold, which is his foster parents, he can see like his own future. He can feel like, oh, this is my real family. Oh, this is the real house for me, where I can find my happiness, where I can find my uh lovely feeling like that. The plot and writing is back and forth. In the end of this novel, author tell about the perspective of each foster care. Sorry, I mean foster care. I can feel all of the character in this novel because it's based on a true story. For me, as a beginner, it is hard to understand the language and be better to search every word than using hard to understand in case you want to feel each character in this novel. So the plot and the writing in this novel is back and forth. I like it. I like the plot and the writing because yeah, like back and forth. Yeah, back and forth story, back and forth plot and writing. In the end of the novel, maybe because this is based on a true story, so the author put the perspective of each foster care, like Alice and Harold, uh, Peter Catanze, Mrs. Gold, and there's a lot. There's the perspective of each foster care. Sorry, I mean foster care. I can feel all of the character in this novel. Okay, that's all for me. I'm sorry for my mistake. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.